Welcome to Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World. I'm Richard Dugan, your host. This is our special edition of Tell Me Your Story with LUMARI from LUMARI.com. As we are talking about her book, Living Inspired with LUMARI. And we have an interesting situation where we are now headed for part 3 of our book, or your book, I should say, as we expound on all of these different aspects. So what I would like to have you do, LUMARI, is first of all, welcome. It's I always love having you here on Wednesdays at 9 o'clock to expound on a lot of the things that have been shared with you over the years that you have put down into print form. And thank you for doing that, and thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Richard. It's always an honor and a joy to be here with you and share the sacred space and share the sacred space with your community.
We're dealing with part 3. We're dealing with engage the inspiration experience. That is the title of part 3 of the book, and we'll get into the magic message in a moment. But you have something that you wanted to share with us as we begin part 3 of the book, which is the last third of the book.
Yes, thank you, Richard. Well, each section of this book has a poem that invokes and inspires. And this chapter, this section, the poem is It's Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
It's jazz. Can you sing in circles of bliss? Can you paint the rivers of wisdom? Can you change the world on a trapeze? Her inspiration was a dialogue, a conversation with the divine, poised at the edge of her mind and tickling her heart. The color of the night flowed through time like an illusion of the infinite. Every mask was shattered, every fear exposed, every transcendent cord tying her to past limitations was flying free in crescendo. Was there any wonder she felt so confident that she had no clue what was going on? Confident in the unknown, confident of the road about to be taken. Only courage, only heart knew more than she did. Bending time like a guitar string, the vibrations of her future self, ricocheted light-filled patterns that were soon to be born. Was this the different drummer? Life is jazz, improvisation in multiple tempos of now, bells and blossoms, horns and guitars, and there is always fragrance, the scent leading her forward to the night place, the right melody for change. Jazz life, soul matter, spirit mother, dancing the rhythms of the goddess in steps of gladness, the essence, the vibration calling forth the fullness of being. There was more than enough joy. Her purpose called, and she answered. When destiny calls, it's always good to pick up the phone and pick up the tempo.
Well, talk to us about this aspect of engaging the inspirational experience, because I feel as though I was sharing with you before we started about some certain things that were happening, and I'm wondering if it falls into the category of engaging the inspirational experience.
Well, I would say that we want to look at experience that in a bigger aspect. So we have learned over the course of lifetimes how to take actions to shift things. But when you're engaging with inspiration, so much bigger than you can describe. And that's really important because one of the things that, how can I say this? One of the things that makes inspiration small and oh, here's a nice quote, thank you very much, right? Those kind of things, is that we're not really awakening to something. So we have, and many people do, and the reason that I wrote this book is the conversations about inspiration are too small. When you have something that inspires you, it is something that you really want to pursue. It's not one action or one decision that makes you happy and makes somebody else happy. This is something that is a bigger vision. The divine is trying to communicate with you, and you're engaging, and you become the vehicle of inspiration. And so, bigger than that.
I find it fascinating because I'm trying to stay connected to the inspiration as I move through my day. It's very interesting, some of the experiences that I have been having. And I'm quite honestly very thrilled at the opportunities that have come my way. And I guess I'm just like everybody else. I'm trying to achieve certain things in my life and, make this happen and that happen and the other thing happen and so forth, and increase the prosperity, increase the wherewithal, and also the opportunities with others. And to me, that's a huge thing. And then I talk about this a lot on the program about how important a network is and how important a community is, and that we need to make sure that we're a part of said network and or community, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think we can truly experience or truly get into the inspirational experience if we're disconnected from the rest of the world. And I get a lot of people are trying to get off, they're trying to get off the grid and all those kinds of concepts. But it seems to me that by doing that, you're, in a manner of speaking, you're sort of cutting yourself off from the opportunities that inspiration brings. And I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with people who do that. I'm just saying that it just seems to me that we need to stay connected. We need to stay engaged.
Yeah, let me explain it, because one of the things is, remember that this is engage the lights of awakening, revelation, and transformation. Except for a couple of people I know that are working in higher dimensions, right?
Right.
Generally, humanity, the awakening part is individual. It is you receiving this guidance, inspiration, light, whatever we want to call it in the moment, what it feels like, right? And so in an expanded view of these things, there are people who are really working vibrationally on a conscious collective. Most of us are not there.
Right.
So when you look at, and conscious collective means that actually your thoughts reverberate with other people's thoughts. And that takes a whole other way of thinking and being.
Right.
Now, with this, your inspiration is going to come to you as a message. That's beyond how you engage it, how you bring it into the levels of transformation. You're receiving it is one whole thing. It's important to know, because the other thing is that on one part, we want to engage community. In another part, your pathway may not be to create a big group and do something like that. Your pathway may be to inspire 5 more people that you know are going to take it somewhere else. And you might be their guide, and they might be guiding millions.
Wow.
You don't know where it's going to play. And if you try to configure it before you're in the experience of it in all of these different ways, you're actually limiting how you receive and what's coming to you. So if we look at something that's really simple, like, give this person a meal they needed, that's one thing. And then if somebody's saying, well, you know what you could do, you can bring this in, you're not in that space where the next message comes to you, which could be nothing about food at all. It might have been that was the person that you need to connect with. It might be that you see how it feels when you give. It might be, isn't he cute? Do you want to fix him up with your girlfriend? It could be anything. I mean, I'm saying it so that we can be in that space. Because one of the things for me in writing this book, like I said, is that most of the conversations of inspiration were like, please, it's a to-do list, it's a boring one, and it's a guilt-ridden one. Do this or you'll never blah, blah, blah. Or do this and ooh, wow, this is really cool. It doesn't have the vibrational, spiritual, divine integrity that real inspiration, the divine is tapping you on the shoulder and saying, darling, here.
Yeah.
So if we're putting it in a box or trying to figure out how it's going to move, or we haven't listened. We just got one hit. That's really great. You went through the toll booth, you gave them a quarter, and boom, you're done. You haven't paid attention to the road you're on.
Mm-hmm. It sounds to me like inspiration isn't conditional, with the exception that you do something with it. I mean, that's the only condition. Do something with it, right?
Well, yes, but you want to know what that is. Not
True.
from somebody else, from the inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to, and see, everybody has it differently. So I know when the divine tells me to write a book, and I sit there quietly going, okay, I actually get the book. I'm going to download the book. Now,
right.
It may take me time to go over it again and go, okay, I get this, but nobody else will. Let's see how we can, because when I'm writing, I'm in collaboration. That's how my process is. But that's how my inner process is anyway. So if I'm doing that, I'm in it, and that doesn't mean that because I've written a book, it has to get out right now. It might get out later. Or, the universe, which always jokes with me, not everybody has that humor, but the universe would say to me, well, darling, you're like 3 weeks late. Come on, get on it.
I know how that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I still need spell check. Wait, please.
Yeah. I know that feeling because I am in process of working on my book.
Yeah.
I have a self, I don't want to say impose, but I have a deadline of the anniversary of this program, September 7th, 2024.
Wow.
I've set deadlines before, and they've come and gone, obviously. And
but the thing the universe
now I'm working on with a particular program, and I've actually gotten as far as posting the cover, posting the document, if you will, the manuscript, beginning the process of editing it. And I've actually shifted to a different form of editing, but be that as it may. But I decided that for $10, that's including the shipping and handling, I decided to have one copy made and sent to me so that I could see it, I could feel it, I could touch it, and taste it and smell it, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
And now it is becoming more of a reality. It's not done, but at least now I can see, oh, this is very cool.
Well, and see, that's the thing for everything that we're exploring and playing with. And so when you're looking at the magic messaging, right, in inspiration, I love this part where I say, turn on the light, chase rainbows, follow the unique rhythms. See, your inspiration inspiration is unique and specific to your soul, your spirit, and yourself. When the divine is communicating with you, every moment, all of the universe is collaborating and coming into a convergence in that moment so that you can receive the inspiration. Now, and that's why it's like crazy good important to pay attention to your inspiration. And like early on, my joke was one of the reasons I wrote this book is because this stupid company had a commercial on TV that the universe made me see that said, pork, be inspired. And I'm like, please, no. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? It's like sacrilege. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And the universe, like I said, the universe laughs at me a lot and with me a lot and said, well, what do you think? You better bring your message about inspiration to the world, don't you think? I'm like, oh, yeah, I better. That's the thing. If you look at each person as an inspiration point, right? And first of all, I feel everybody can receive inspiration. Does everybody receive inspiration? That's a whole other thing.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone can. And if you're that inspiration, imagine what happens with this essence. If you're really open to it, every cell of your body vibrates with the light and the frequencies of that inspiration. Because the divine doesn't do, let's give them about 35%. Let's see how they do. Sorry. We're only going to make a world that's 8%. See what they think. Nuh-uh. It doesn't work like that.
Well, now I know we're diving into, of course, the magic message. Mm-hmm. One of the elements that I think is so cool about this, and it dives into some other realms that I have been in contact with over the 4+ decades. Your inspiration is unique and specific to your soul, spirit, and self. The divine is communicating with you in every moment of all time. Every planet in the heavens and every experience of life converges in one moment so you can receive this guidance. Inspiration is the essence and power of the divine connecting with you, and a deeply personal, intimate, powerful communication. And just to dovetail off of that, and of course every cell of your body is shimmering with this light and vibration. Now I'm going to end up giving this away to some degree, but that's okay. For quite a number of years, my relationship has been, for the most part, I'm going to say it's been fairly stable, as with most that are long lasting. It's going on 26 years now. That's funny. I would say, well, this is the longest relationship I've ever been in, and then I think about the second longest and so forth, but it is. But at the same time, I recognize not only the level of commitment to the other person, to my partner, but at the same time, my commitment to myself, and that things change. That's the nature of the universe, right? So as time has gone on, I have come to a space where I want to make it more. I don't want to, you're either committed or you're not, is my opinion. But in terms of giving something to the other person that helps them to maybe stabilize a little bit so that they can start hearing the inspiration. And so that's what I'm doing. That is where I'm at right now. So the relationship that I'm in, that's gone on for 26+ years, because we met in March of 1998. I am going to take another new step to give my partner something more on the level of the commitment. And it actually started about a month or two ago when we went to a ceremony of her nephew and his partner. And I'm watching everybody and I'm watching them. And of course it's like, huh, I think this would be very cool for us to do too. It was like that was sort of the inspiration. And I've been listening and I've been doing my utmost not to push anything, not to press, but to really stay in the flow. That's really important when we start getting the magic message of inspiration. Yes, we need to do something with it. We need to download of the process. That's a phrase I've heard quite often. Become part of the process. Don't try to control it. Right?
Well, let's say you participate.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say you participate in it, because it's a dance. You hear the music of the inspiration, and you create the tempo and the dance, and then the inspiration might change the tempo, and you're going to dance more.
Mm-hmm.
In bringing or sharing inspiration with other people, that is a multifaceted thing. So we may not look at inspiration as a format
Mm-hmm.
of how something looks, whether it's a format of how the music looks on paper, or how a relationship looks in the world, or how we change growing food, right? We may not look at inspiration as a format. Inspiration is the frequency that comes in that we share with participation. And that's what's so wonderful about a magic message, is that people get to play. I love looking at inspiration like you're playing there. Not a job description, not a to-do list, not even the languaging of purpose, but more like the divine and you are having this conversation. There's a calling there. You're playing together. New things are coming to you. You are taking action, but you're taking action in a whole other way. It will come, whatever it becomes. Because again, what we were talking about is that could look like something very, very specific that you create, and it creates a movement. And it could look like something very private that allows you to be in a way where it ripples into other people's lives, and they may not need to know what the inspiration was. They may not. They don't need to know your message. They can, but they don't need to. That's what's magic about it.
Yeah.
So it puts it in a whole new framework, because in a way, this is a little radical for people who have the formula. They want you to do it a certain way. That's the most efficient, powerful, joyful, whatever way it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And inspiration doesn't have a boundary. It isn't a short to-do list, a long to-do list. Somebody 5,000 years ago had some inspiration that we don't even know who they are, but they changed our world. We don't know what it was. They didn't write it down in a language that we can decipher, but it shifted everything to a new possibility. All of these different things. So when I'm saying this, even, of course, I want everyone to take an inspired action. I want everyone to be in that presence of their inspiration and act in it, be in the revelation and the transformation, and not have it so rigid that all of a sudden it becomes, this is what you got to do. This is more like, ooh, look at who I'm being now.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel?
Oh, yeah. Well, and in hearing what you're saying, it also ties into the art of living inspired, the awakening, revelation, and transformation. And one of the things that I was just looking at here, the art of living inspired opens you to your greater purpose. And just as a note here, I have been also reading, in addition to your book, I've also been reading the 12 Laws of the Universe.
Mm.
Okay.
Who's the
And
author?
that's what I'm looking for right now.
I want to give kudos to the author.
Absolutely, and we'll give kudos to the author as soon as I'm able to find the author.
It's okay. Keep going. Keep going.
In any event, and I'll share that in just a moment. But the interesting thing is that the process that it talked about in one of the laws, and I think, and you discussed this, of course, when we went over the streams of consciousness, the 12 streams of consciousness. And it talked about, it alluded to, as we talked in that series, about change.
Mm-hmm.
That, and I've asked this question on my program many times of my guests at the end, as I often do of those three questions. What's your life's purpose? And I got one response that was, well, today it's whatever it was. That when we're talking about the art of inspiration, of living inspired, and being led to and being open to your life's greater purpose, that's what it is today. And it doesn't mean that the purpose is the same throughout your entire life. That change is the constant in the universe, and that each experience, each inspiration, each movement opens the door to the next inspiration and the next movement.
Yeah.
And so on and so on and so on. And it kind of hit me too. Here I am. I'm talking with you about this book, about living inspired. And I'm thinking, okay, obviously, I'm not sitting here disconnected from the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here now talking with you, even though I may not know what it is yet, for a very specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I may get in touch with that in the next day or the next week or the next month. But to recognize where we are and recognize that we are hopefully in our life's purpose now, this moment,
right,
is really the most important element to recognize. And that's one of the things that I find so, I don't know if I want to say peaceful or what have you, but it feels good. It really does. And by the way, the author of the book, and I'm going to take a shot at this, and it's Manharadeep Singh Aluwala.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Cool.
yeah, The 12 Laws of the Universe. That's the title of this particular book that I've been
Right.
listening to in the car as I've been driving around as well.
Well, when we talk about the art of living inspired and the magic message, so the awakening calls your attention to the eternal moment. The divine moves you to connect. The divine moves to connect with you and only you. So this is that private awakening. And the gathering of this energy and attention calls to you. So, you may have a very visceral experience of this inspiration, right? And it moves you to a very unique and distinct attention. And then the revelation opens this moment into a universal embrace. So now there's where we really recognize the joy, and life stops in a moment and you have that eternal aha moment where you're absolutely moved. And you connect with the vision and the message, and however it receive it, it lights you up.
Yeah.
And you can feel that energy, and then you can continue to play there. and receive more and understand more of who you are and who you are ready to become. And then the transformation uplifts your awareness and being to a greater part of your soul. So now you're resonating and vibrating into a greater you. I like to call it the more of you.
Oh, yeah.
And now you can.
I like that.
Thank you. And now you can see how much bigger you are than the life you experienced every day. It's bigger. Your future self is there somewhere where you can play. And your vision is becoming more clear. So this doesn't mean that, okay, now I can write the script. That's not what it's about. But you can write a script if you're a writer. That would be fun.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But this is where you can choose to step into your vision. Because you've had the awakening, you have the revelation, the transformation has come forward, and now you can choose an action that is in resonance with the inspiration, not what someone thinks it should be, not what steps people have told you you always need to take, right? You know, it's like, okay, now you're in this. The universe is calling you forward. You're hearing your inspiration with resonating. Whatever those are, it may not be beginning, middle, and end. I know people who write books from the middle. I know people who write books from the last chapter, and then they go forward and create the story because they wanted to know the end first. You know?
Well, I can tell you at the end, the butler did it.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, it's like the thing with this is look how big, look how much it gives us.
Yeah. You know, the other aspect of the art, the awakening calls your attention to the eternal moment. The divine moves to connect with you and only you. And it raises that other mathematical equation, shall we say. They say that you are the product of one single egg, and I don't know if it's in the millions or the billions, one out of the millions of sperm cells, which speaks to just how unique you are. Yeah. And I know that we've anthropomorphized God, the creator, the universal power, as a male, as a father figure.
Yeah.
But for the sake of this argument,
wrong answer, not a male.
But for the sake of this little example, so you are from millions. You were the one that swam the distance, shall we say? And it's quite astounding. By the way, the revelation opens this eternal moment that we just referred to, as far as the awakening calls your attention to the eternal moment. The revelation opens this eternal moment into a universal embrace, and this is why you feel joy. It's like when I get inspired to do something or create something or build something, and I begin that process, and that you're in it. You're in it. There's that elation. There's that excitement. But then there's the transformational portion that uplifts your awareness and your being to the greater part of your soul, and you are resonating, shifting into a greater you, the more of you. And that's interesting too, that there are times when we reach a place in our lives, isn't it, Lumari, where we think that, oh, this is all there is. This is me. This is the extent to which I am going to progress, and so forth. And again, we forget that this is all you are right now, this instant, this moment. But there's
Well,
more of you that you have yet to experience.
well, and we're trained, and I understand it, so I'm not negating or dissing how we're
Mm-hmm.
trained. But we're trained to be able to see these things about ourselves and hold them in place so we can, I'm doing the hand quotes, so we can accomplish certain things that are measurable, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really understandable that
Mm-hmm.
many ways that you talk about things, this is how you do it. But when you're talking about inspiration, awakening, revelation, and transformation, how you do it is connect with the inspiration. What happens afterwards is a whole other thing. Because you don't know where it's going to play. That is the brilliance of the unknown.
Yeah.
Because the inspiration may come to you in a certain way, and 5 years later you forgot you wrote that, and you open a book and there it is, and it has a whole other effect. And you're having conversations with people, and they're in the same zone, which 5 years ago, if you had that conversation, they would have no clue what you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's like our world, when you look at the particleization, right? Well, how did you know which rose was going to be where? I mean, it's
Yeah.
all on the same rose bush, but this one has more petals and this one twists in one direction. And just because somebody might look at them and say, yeah, they're all roses, they're not.
Hmm.
Just like all humans are not all the same.
No. Oh my gosh. I think I may have spoken of this in a previous program. I may have also in another program with someone else. But what I find so fascinating is, okay, it's the single egg from the mother, but then one out of a million from the father. My sisters, they've had their DNA tested. I don't know if my brother has, and of course my mother as well, and I. And what blows me away is, in spite of the fact that we came from the same two people, mother and father,
Mm-hmm.
our DNA is not the same.
Mm.
It's like, really? How is that? Then that must mean I must have been adopted. No, it does not mean you were adopted. It means that's how unique each one of us is.
Oh, you were adapted, not adopted.
Oh, I like that. Very good. Nice twist.
Thank you. Yeah.
One of the other, go ahead,
No,
please.
no, no, you please do.
All right. You can choose to step forward into the vision or the inspiration, if you will. You are no longer passive, waiting, hoping, and praying to feel inspired. This is the time to choose action. This is the opportunity for you to be living inspired. And that's what we're talking about on this program in the context of living inspired with Lumari, the book that we're talking about. We still have 4 more weeks to go, folks.
Yay.
And I have to tell you that there have been times when I have jumped into a project and there's a part of my ego personality that goes, boy, I can hardly wait to get to the end of this thing. Man, no, not here. It's like, what do you mean only 4 more weeks? We got to go on another 4 months.
I love it.
We'll go on, we'll tackle another opportunity when it presents itself when we get to the end of this series. But the whole point that I'm trying to make is that we are given inspiration, i.e., opportunities. If we are here serving, those opportunities are going to be to serve. And even if it's serving the divine through other people, I've been watching this one guy's videos where he goes around to these different restaurants and says, hey, can I get $1,000 worth of sandwiches, burritos, tacos, whatever it is that is, well, okay, well, that's like, X number of tacos. All right. Well, what can I, how much would it be if I was to get 30 or 40 or 50 of these, and how quickly could you make them up? And then, not that he's in a hurry, because he's feeding the homeless.
Right.
And then he comes back to the restaurant to give them a tip. And sometimes it's $100, sometimes it's $1,000. It's like, wow, this guy is serving the
Yeah.
divine by serving both the people in the restaurant who many times will not take the money he offers them for the gift they gave. Many times they will give and charge nothing because
Right.
they want to be a part of the service.
Yeah.
And that's extraordinary. And it says to me that on the material plane, if you will, where most people are living, we're not being told the truth that there's, first of all, that there's more than enough. There is no lack. It's only our perception. And that when people are given the opportunity, whether you want, the inspiration to share that abundance, 9 times out of 10, they do.
Yeah.
I have never seen a video where he was turned down.
Well,
Never.
the thing that's really interesting, and for me, I came from a family who, like, they volunteered for everything. My parents, it was hilarious, really.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something that they were volunteering for, giving to, organizing, etc. So I understand that. The thing is, the other truth that you're sharing, that I'm just going to rephrase it, is
Mm-hmm.
that most people don't recognize how beautiful and generous and loving and honoring humans are.
Yeah.
We have bought into stories
Yeah.
and then raised ourselves to figure out which story we can live in. And if
Mm-hmm.
you look at them like stories, then you can see all the different stories that are told. Ultimately, and I'm not a mathematician, even though Einstein and I get along really well, I would say 80%, minimum 80% of the people on this planet are loving, caring, connected people who really do want to help and play and make a difference and receive guidance and everything else. And the difficulties come from a small percentage of that other 20% who haven't figured it out yet. I'm not judging, right? They haven't figured it out yet. And we get to play there. And the amazing opportunities for us to really recognize that and share and honor and appreciate each other, like we talked about in the streams of consciousness, the stream of compassion and the stream of honor, and being able to play that uplifts.
Yes.
And inspiration comes to you from that place. Inspiration is never, excuse my stutter, never negative. It is always embracing. It is always uplifting. It always has a new way of seeing things so that you can age. That's the awakening part. Look where we can play, Richard. Look where we play.
Yeah. It's incredible. It really is. And folks, we all can play. This is not, to put it in that vernacular, this is not a game just for a few. Okay. This is a game for all of us, if you want to look at it in the context of a game. And it's just incredible. Lumari, we have sadly come to the end of this particular edition of Tell Me Your Story, Living Inspired with Lumari. But I want to give you the opportunity to tell people about that free gift, the meditation that is available to them from your website.
Oh, yes. So I have a free gift. It's called a Sacred Space Meditation. It helps you be present in your own being. It's an audio meditation. You can listen to it anywhere. You can listen to it, wake up, and create a space for yourself to be. You can listen to it in your lunch hour. You can listen to it before you sleep. You can listen to it with your family and friends, which a lot of my clients do. And it helps you create a space for your own being that isn't distracted or judged or confused, but really present in your own being so you can celebrate yourself. And definitely go to my website. And also, if you want to connect with me and see what other things I can provide you with, courses and private sessions and all of that, definitely do that.
Get in touch with her. Lumari.com is the website. We encourage you to go there and look forward to having you back next week to continue our conversation about living inspired with Lumari.
Oh, thank you, my dear, and thank you, everyone. I'm just filled with inspiration in this very moment.
Absolutely. Yours truly as well. And we thank you for tuning in, watching, and listening to Tell Me Your Story. New Paradigms for a New World, where we're giving you choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. And until our next broadcast, podcast, videocast, love to lull. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Smokey, I'll see you on the other side. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.